after that day, I kind of went by, I just thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I need to go all in because not many people are making $1,000 a day.
Hi, I'm Constantine Desjardins. Today I'm here with Max from SG Pressure Pros, and we're going to be talking about starting an exterior cleaning business and what that's like. When did you start SG Pressure Pros? How long have you been in the business, and kind of what motivated you to start it?
Yeah, so I started probably about 3.5 years ago. What motivated me was watching my dad. He always worked by himself. He didn't like working for anybody else. And I had a job at Autobell, so I wasn't getting paid that much. And I kind of just wanted to start in my own thing. And I just looked up online. I said, what should I do to make some extra money? And pressure washing popped up. So I was interested in it right away, had a pressure washer, and just started from there. And that's when it kind of all started to come together.
Yeah, and I think that's super common. I feel like pressure washing is one of the most common side hustles you'll find online as a recommendation.
Yeah.
But going from the idea of a side hustle to actually, bringing that to life. Can you talk more about what that was like for you? How'd you get your first paying customer, and who were they? How'd you find them?
Yeah, so when I first got started, I thought equipment would probably be the most important part. So I just wanted to make sure I had all the basics down. After I got that, I started posting on social medias just for free, like everywhere on Nextdoor, stuff like that, Facebook groups. And my first paying customer was a family member, actually a family friend. And she's super nice and she had some faith in me. So she had me out to clean her driveway. It took me about 8 hours probably to do about 1,000 square feet. So definitely a learning curve, but yeah, we got it done, and that was my first paying customer. And then I just posted pictures before and afters from that and kind of scaled from there.
Nice. How much did you get paid for that?
That job, well, I quoted her $200, but she gave me 300. So
Nice. Nice. It's always nice to have like a friendly audience to test out a new
100%.
idea like that.
100%.
So, how did it evolve from there? And kind of what's your ideal customer profile? Who are you looking for? Is it still residential?
Yeah, so mainly residential. It's a little bit easier for me to deal with just because I'm already very high up in social status on like Nextdoor and Facebook groups. So a lot of people know me and it's a lot of word of mouth. So I want to stay in the residential area. It's just a little bit easier for me. But yeah, scaling the business from when I started, I didn't really know what I was doing. I actually had no idea. So it was kind of just playing around with different things and learning how to get around different tasks. So I posted on Nextdoor a lot, like every single day. I just had that dedication and I just wanted to do something. So I kept making it work, kept posting pictures before and afters, basically telling people I was a college student looking for extra money. And then every single person I did, I would take money off of the quote that I would do if they left me a review on my page, because I feel like that's the most important part. And that's how I grew it pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Staying consistent is definitely key. And it sounds like you did a really good job of kind of leveraging those social media channels and, trying to get those referrals.
Yeah, so social media now with our with the way our world's going is just so big that you kind of have to take advantage of it. It's just a free opportunity, and I saw that and I took advantage of it. And I think I caught it early on enough to where I was ahead of the curve, especially in Charlotte being a massive place now. So there's a lot of competition, but since I was ahead of that curve, I kind of got a jump start.
Yeah. And is pressure washing the only thing you're doing, or?
So I soft wash as well.
Yeah.
So I do most soft washes for housing and then pressure washing for the driveways and concrete.
Yeah. And is this a full-time gig for you? Or?
Yeah, this is full time. So I go to college as well. I had to switch to their full online program because I got too busy doing pressure washing. But yeah, this is full time. I do this pretty much 5 days a week.
Yeah. So having to switch online, it's a great problem to have if you're making money.
Very good problem.
And it kind of started off as a side hustle. How can I make some extra money?
Mm-hmm.
But when did you realize this was something where you could make more than just side hustle money?
Yeah, so for the first year and a half, it was just side hustle money. I didn't really put too much time and effort into it until I had my first $1,000 day. After that, it was kind of wraps. I did $1,000, came home. My parents were like, "Oh, how much did you make today?" And I was like, "Oh, I made $11.50, I think it was." And they were like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm serious." And they were like, "Well, maybe you should think about scaling it harder." And I was like, "Yeah, I think that's a conversation I need to have with myself." And after that day, I kind of went by, I just thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I need to go all in because not many people are making $1,000 a day. So
yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
bad at all. And is that kind of a consistent average number? Of course, it's going to fluctuate. But
Yeah, it fluctuates with season. We're going into a slower season just because the winter nobody really likes to get their house washed. But I think that's because most people like stay inside during the winter months, so they don't go outside. They don't notice how dirty their property is.
Mhm.
But it's more consistent this year than it was last year, just because of my word of mouth and repeat customers.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of repeat customers, especially this year. When I first started, there wasn't that many just because my equipment wasn't all there. But now that it's kind of a full-fledged business, I get a lot of repeat customers, and that kind of helps keep me afloat during the slower season. But yeah, over the summertime, it was very consistent.
That's awesome. I mean, having a lot of 1,100 days is it's not bad at all.
Can't complain.
And something I hear a lot from people in the exterior cleaning, pressure washing industry is there's always competitive pressures. Someone's always trying to undercut you, bid less, the $99 guy.
100%.
So how do you kind of maintain satisfaction and get those customers to keep coming back?
Yeah, so I really focus on just peace of mind. I like to tell my customers, I give them the whole rundown before I come out of what's going to happen, the whole process from start to finish. I give them a set price. My prices never change. And then later down the line, when they want to go with me again as a repeat customer, I might be a little bit higher than, like you said, the $99 guy, but they know that they're getting the correct service. What they want done will get done, and they don't have to deal with any headaches. And I feel like with the cheaper guys, there's a lot of headaches when it comes to that. So you can charge a little bit more for more efficient services.
Yeah. I think people always appreciate when you make it easy.
100%.
They don't have to worry about anything.
Exactly.
Tons of value in that. And what does the process look like from posting on Nextdoor to that first contact with the customer to actually getting to the job? What's that look like?
Yeah, so how I do all organic. So like I said, Nextdoor is my biggest source, but I'll post on there probably 2 to 3 times a week, and I just get calls, messages left and right. People call me and they say, "Hey, I need my house washed. How do you do it?" And then I call them back and I say, "Hey, all of my pricing is virtual through Google Earth." So I do everything on Google Earth, and I can map out square footage that way. Just makes my life a little bit easier, and that way I can get them quotes very fast that way. So from start to finish, they reach out to me, I text them back, they text me with the address, and then I go on Google Earth, measure everything out, and then give them a price that way and tell them my availability of when I could do it. And then if they accept from there, I give them the rundown of what happens, and then I go out and do the work, and they're happy with it, leave me a review. So
Nice.
Pretty simple process.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy there,
Yeah.
but it works.
Yeah, it works.
Clearly, it works.
It works.
Landing a lot of jobs through Nextdoor. Is there any other word of mouth? Is there any other major source of leads or a pipeline you're building?
There is. So Facebook groups are starting to get a lot more prevalent. I feel like a lot of people are starting to be on those Facebook groups, especially where I live. All of the moms for the school areas, they like to see young kids working hard.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of customers that way. And some people don't realize this, but a lot of those neighborhood groups have like 40 to 50,000 people, and they're free to post in. So every time you post, you have a chance that 40,000 people are going to see that post. So as long as you have something a little bit like as a baseline for you, a lot of people are going to reach out to you because they want to see what kind of services you offer and what you have to offer.
Yeah. I mean, 40,000 people in your local area, homeowners. I mean,
Exactly.
bound to get some leads.
Yeah, and I always say a lot, posting is like a lottery ticket. I have a lot of people that I'm friends with now that ask me like, "Oh, I want to start my own thing. Like, what would you suggest?" And I say, just post. I mean, it's literally a lottery ticket. There's been days where I'll post 3 times and get absolutely nothing. But then there's some days where I post 1 post and get 10 people that call me and wanting quotes. So you just have to stay consistent with it.
Yeah, that's so important. And I think not getting discouraged when
Correct.
you have those days where it's like, oh, I tried all this and it didn't really pay off.
Yeah, I think a big thing for me with that was I kind of just had to realize that I'm living in the times that I used to pray for.
Yeah.
When you're moving so fast and growing so fast, you can get caught up in the moment. And then you have a couple, like you said, a couple of those bad days where, you don't get anything and you're so used to having work for a week straight. And you just can't let it bring you down. You just got to keep going and be consistent because everybody's going to come around.
Yeah. It's a great perspective, and being able to take a step back and kind of evaluate things.
Correct.
Is super important.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the biggest mistakes, or maybe one mistake that stands out to you as, just looking back, something you, when you're starting off, you did that now you view as really detrimental, or "Oh, I wish I could have gone back and I would have done that completely differently"?
I would say probably being desperate. When I first started, a lot of people reached out to me wanting quotes and stuff, and I thought maybe my prices would be too high. So if they didn't respond right away, I would get desperate and be like, I can take $100 off, I can take $150 off. And then people kind of view that as you're desperate for the work, and then they get worried that your work is not going to be quality work. That was probably one of the biggest mistakes I've made. So learning from that and how I do that now is I have set prices, and if someone wants to find somebody cheaper, be my guest. I have enough customers that they keep me afloat. So I keep my prices pretty steady. Unless you're a repeat customer, then I work with you a little bit. But just having those set prices in line, they make you a more stable business.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I did not expect that to be the answer, but
Yeah,
yeah, matching yourself to the right client, and you never know kind of what's going on their end. And
exactly.
just carrying yourself in a certain way will help you attract the right type of customers you want.
Yeah, you also have to know your value. I know what I'm worth, and I know the work that I do is good. So the people that see that are willing to pay the more money that it costs to get that service done.
Yeah. Do you feel like it took you a little while to kind of realize that and fully believe like...
Yes, 100%. So when I first started off, I charged, for example, 10 cents a square foot for cleaning concrete, but now I'm almost at 20 cents a square foot for most projects. You kind of have to start somewhere and just get that baseline of customers down, and then you can work from that into building your business up higher, because eventually no one's going to stay afloat on 10 cents a square foot.
Yeah.
I want to work myself to death cleaning concrete for that cheap. So
yeah, and it's a balance of, let me just take this next step forward, but also growing and evolving and understanding, hey, I'm good at this. I know how to clean houses, and that's valuable.
exactly. Yes, exactly.
Awesome. What's a tool or a piece of tech that's become essential for how you work and operate?
I would probably say the surface cleaner. I wouldn't be able to be in business without it, honestly. There's a lot of people that come up to me and they say like, "Oh, you don't use a wand to clean the concrete." And I'm like, "No, I think I'd be out here for 4 days straight if I did that." So that's definitely a piece of tech that is very, very important in the business aspect of it. It's like lawn mowing grass, but for concrete. So
Yeah.
that's very important.
Definitely essential tool. It's funny, I don't even think most people would consider something like that like tech in the traditional or
Exactly.
UH sense. But
Yeah.
is there anything on like the online side of things, digital tool that you really find to be useful?
Yeah, I use Invoice Fly a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like that that helps me a lot, just because I can charge through like credit cards, debit cards that way. So people have the option to pay with credit card. That helps me get a lot more customers as well, because some people, they don't have like $300-400 immediately to be able to pressure wash their home. But with the HOAs where I live, they get on them and then they get fees. So if they're not able to afford that service right away, they like using the credit card to be able to afford that service.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's always nice, and as a customer, you appreciate it, and as a business owner, it's wise to make it as easy as possible to
It's
to
also
pay.
better to track things that way as well. It's just easier to store the files. Repeat customers, easy. You just pull up their name and what they got done last year. It's all on file. So that's makes my life a little bit easier as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But no crazy complex online marketing tool or...
ChatGPT. I use a lot of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I mean, to word my posts and everything, because it essentially acts as a marketing agent. I just use it to write up posts all the time. It helps me out a lot. But other than that, no, not really. I just stay consistent, keep posting, show my work, and just show who I am as a person. And that seems to be a lot more effective.
Yeah. So these two tools, they're helpful. They've helped you grow and evolve. But, if someone doesn't have them, that shouldn't stop them.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Like I said, when I first started, I used my dad's pressure washer. It was a 2,500 PSI Ryobi,
Yep.
and I did a full driveway with it. Yeah, it took me a long time, but that realization that you're working for yourself is unmatched.
Yeah.
So
It's the duality. 8 hours with a Ryobi pressure washer. But
hey, I was happy after I was done, but like me being now, if I had to go back to that, no, I don't think I'd be so happy. But you got to start somewhere.
yeah, once you get a taste of high flow HVPM pump. I couldn't imagine.
Exactly.
Have you had experiences with a competitor coming in and, taking some of your customers? Is that something you're super concerned about, or, how have you handled that situation?
Yeah, so there's been a couple of times where I've had jobs scheduled and they text me a day before and they say, "Hey, I got this person that said they can do it for cheaper." And then I'm kind of just lost in the wind. I've already paid for the chemicals to do the job, stuff like that. But my response to that is I don't move on my price now. So maybe back then, when I first started, if I had a driveway wash for say $350 and they said, "Hey, someone said they could do it for 300, do you think you could come match that?" I'd be like, "Sure. What's an extra $50 that I'm going to lose? I'm still going to make a lot on the job." But now I know, like I said, I know my value and I know my worth and I know I do good work and people see that on social media. So there is some times where competitors come in and they try and take that. But at the same time, those competitors that charge those super low rates won't be able to stay afloat. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Won't be in business long.
exactly.
And if there was one aspect of your operations that you could automate, what would that be? Is there something that stands out?
Yeah, well, seeing the lava bot a lot, I definitely think surface cleaning. It's very time consuming, especially if you don't have the right equipment, and if you're on big jobs, big commercial jobs, it can take up a lot of time. So if I could automate the labor part of it, that would be huge.
I guess why? Could you go into that more?
Yeah. So, how my day looks right now, for
Yeah.
example, is if I have 3 jobs scheduled, I'm pretty much a one-man team. I have a couple of employees that work with me, but I like doing the work myself just to see the results, and I know I do good work, so it's hard for me to get away from that. But if I have 3 jobs scheduled and I'm doing all the work, I'm going to be out there from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. But the thing is that also it opens opportunities for upselling. So if I had a customer that wanted me to clean their driveway, I can't right now physically do their driveway in their house at the same time. But if I had something like the surface cleaner that is automated, it would kind of clean the driveway itself. I'll keep an eye on it, and then I could upsell the house and charge a much cheaper rate because I'm already there, if that makes sense. So I feel like just automating that part of it would open up more potential for better GMV.
Yeah. It's like the Costco hot dogs, the loss leader. and it
Exactly.
opens up the opportunity for house wash, roof wash, those services where you can really.
Exactly. Yeah, because I can do multiple things with only 2 hands. So.
Yeah. And the way we met was on a job site with one of our other customers. And he really focuses on kind of more of the commercial side of things,
Correct.
parking garages. Been some long days in parking garages.
Yeah, there's been some long days.
What are the big differences in commercial versus residential? How's the process different? Is there any difference in like how you approach and plan this job, and what's it look like?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's too much of a difference. I would just say it's on a much larger scale. So when you go to clean a parking deck and it's 100,000 square feet, it's a lot different than cleaning a driveway that's 2,500 square feet, if that makes sense. So you kind of just have to make sure you have the right equipment. I feel like that's the most important part. It's the same exact process if you're cleaning a parking deck to a driveway, usually, unless you have to comply with certain regulations. But it's the same process, surface cleaning, especially if you're doing a building too. I know that there's, like I said, the regulations is probably something that you got to look out for compared to residential. And I would also say that since you're doing it on such a much larger scale, you kind of have to have a better attention to detail because there's going to be things that you miss that you didn't even see because you're cleaning 100,000 square feet compared to looking at 1,000 square foot driveway.
You're focused on residential, but why not expand into commercial if it's 10 times the size of a job? What's the obstacle, or maybe why is that something you don't want to pursue?
Yeah, so I think I would like to do commercial, but with how I'm at right now with residential, there's just so many people that need their houses washed. And for me personally, I'd rather go wash 3 houses a day at 400 a piece than being at a parking deck doing the exact same thing all day long. So I like that diversity of being able to drive around, clean a house. It doesn't take that long. It's a simple process. And if you have the right equipment and people in place, then you can simplify it really fast.
It does get a little monotonous and tedious. Hour 6 of pushing a surface cleaner.
Yeah, exactly. It does. Yes.
Gotta put on a podcast or something. listen to this podcast while you're surface cleaning.
Exactly.
And you've had a little bit of experience with using the LavaBot, just the manual version. Does that change the process of completing your job, or is there any difference in completing a job with a LavaBot versus just with traditional methods?
Yeah, so I have gotten a lot of mixed opinions on the LavaBot, and a lot of people think that it actually slows you down rather than using a regular surface cleaner. But I think I'd argue against that now, just because if I was physically out there pushing a surface cleaner around for 100,000 square feet, I would have to take so many breaks. I would be so tired, worn out. I'm going to miss certain things because, like I said, I'm tired and worn out. With the LavaBot, it opens a different pathway. I mean, I can sit there and really pay attention to the details because I don't actually have to be physically pushing the surface cleaner around and wearing down my physical strength.
Totally. You don't have to convince me.
Exactly.
But I think it is true in that, you're still taking up time. You still have to have someone focused on doing that work. So
Exactly.
I think, of course, that's why I'm excited for autonomy. And
yes, that will be game changer. Autonomy. Well, I mean, if someone can just sit there and watch it and make sure it's doing its job, it's going to be a no-brainer because, like I said, I can be doing different things at the same exact time. So you're doing double the work. It's game changer.
Have the automated Lavo going, and then maybe you can just use the manual Lavo.
Yeah, and I also don't understand, like, people say that it's significantly slower than pushing a surface cleaner, but it goes at walking pace. And if you don't have like a 15 gallon per minute pump, you can only go so fast.
Yeah.
So if you can only go so fast and the LavaBot goes just as fast, then you're not wasting any time.
Yeah, what I always tell people, and add input if you disagree, but this, how fast you're going when you're surface cleaning comes down to the size of the deck, the flow rate of the pump, and like how dirty the surface is and how slow you have to go to not leave any streaks or anything like that.
100%. And I would also argue that the LavaBot does a better job of doing that because you can control the speed better with the LavaBot. So if I have the joystick in a certain spot, it's going to go that same speed no matter what. But if I'm pushing a surface cleaner, it's not like I'm pacing myself in my head pushing the surface cleaner. I don't know the exact speed. So you get a more even clean, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And especially hour 1 versus hour 8, there's probably going to be
100%.
some difference there.
100%. Feet are hurting and everything. So
yeah. And the other thing with the new version of the Lavo that I'm really excited for is we were out doing that job in Huntersville. And I had the Mondo 49-inch deck on it, and you were using the Lavo on the floor above. And bigger deck, you go faster. And that's like
game changer.
Yeah.
Game changer. And I also think that if you as a person are pushing around a 40-inch deck, you're not going to last that long because that thing's heavy to push around, especially for 100,000 square feet. So if you can automate that and just use a remote control, it makes your life a lot easier. And like I said, you'll be able to pay attention to better detail and doing a better job in the long run.
Yeah. Soon enough here.
Yeah.
So I guess, how do you see an autonomous robot, an autonomous LavoBot kind of changing how your business operates? And what I'm also really interested in is, what would a really successful implementation of an autonomous cleaning tool like this look like for you? What would the results, what would you be looking for to say, hey, this was really successful and I'm glad I did it?
Yeah. So I think for me personally, it's more of a social presence. Posting the LavaBot, it just grabs attention immediately. So if being that company that uses that technology, especially with the way the world's advancing, I think you can get a lot more customers that way. And like I said, I'm mostly owner operator, so it would make my life so much easier just to be there using the remote and being able to pay attention to every small thing in detail. And like I said, it's an eye catcher. So if somebody drives by and sees a robot cleaning your driveway, they're probably going to stop and ask what it is. So I feel like that's how it would change my business dramatically. Is I would probably double in revenue, if not triple, because there would be so much interest in it.
Doesn't sound like a bad deal.
Not at all.
And I've actually had the experience of being out cleaning some driveways in Florida, and the neighbor comes out and they're like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. And then we ended up cleaning her driveway as well. So
exactly. Yeah. I've posted it on social media and my comments are flooded, DMs flooded with people saying, how did you get that? Did you make that? What is that? Where can I get it? How much does it cost? All of these questions. People are just super intrigued about it. And I think that's beautiful part of it.
Yeah. It's a exciting time, and we are really living in the future.
We are, yes, yeah.
And I guess just thinking long term, you've already evolved a lot from just this being a side hustle. What are kind of your aspirations for the future of the business, and where would you kind of want to be in 5 years from now?
Yeah, so I like to keep things stable. Um, there's a lot of people that you probably talk to in the pressure washing industry that are focused on, scaling to that $1 million league. But for me, I want to stay consistent. I want to make enough money to keep myself afloat and to be able to live the life that I want to live. I think that my main goal would just be to scale a little bit more. But honestly, with where I'm at right now, if I had to live the rest of my life like this, I'd be comfortable.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's great.
And I think one other thing I really wanted to touch on is a super common problem in the industry is turnover, and it's really hard to retain talent and find people, great talent like yourself, that want to go into this industry, whether it's a business owner or you're just helping out as a tech. But I think your age is kind of separates you from a lot of the other people I talk to.
100%.
Where do you think being so young has helped you, and have you had any experiences where maybe it hasn't helped you so much?
Yes, I've actually had a lot of experience
Yeah.
where it hasn't helped me, but I'll go over the good parts of it. I think being young, I have a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
I have a lot more time to be able to grow, learn new things, talk to new people, meet new people, and learn about the business a lot more than somebody starting when they're 40, 50 years old. They kind of have to do it at a lot faster pace. Where it's been a disadvantage, there's just been a lot of people that have not been able to trust me because they see my age. I'm only 20 years old, and they're like, well, do I really want this kid cleaning my house? But that's why I have a big social media presence, is I want people to see the work I'm doing. I post videos of the work I'm doing just so they get that sense of trust, so that they have the ability to schedule me to do the work.
Yeah, the proof is right there. So
Exactly.
if you had to give advice to someone who's also young and thinking about starting a pressure washing business, would you recommend kind of overcoming that obstacle?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, you just gotta jump in. If you have the thoughts of doing it, just go ahead and do it. It's the best decision I've ever made. And the thing is, you don't have that much to lose when you're young. Looking back at it in 30 years, if I stopped pressure washing today, I'd be happy I did it, even if I lost everything.
Yeah.
You can always look back at your successes, but if you look back at something that you want to do and you didn't do it, it's going to be a lifetime of regret.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Well, Max, thank you for your time today. That was super awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'm sure I'll see you again very shortly on a job site.
I'm sure we will. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.